Hey, what's going on, guys? Asian Eyes White Dragon here. So I want to do my ban list predictions, and so this is for the upcoming ban list in March 2012. So let's go ahead and get started. So really simple one. I'm sure a lot of people will agree with. BLS. It's a pretty good card. Yeah, and it just needs to go away. And another card, really simple. Monster Reborn. It's just good, too good when you go, okay, Dark Hole. Okay, get back your monster that's really good. And Reborn just opens up so many plays. And since we have Call the Haunted at 2. I think that it's really good just to put Reborn back to its place in the Forbidden, because yeah, the card's just really good. I'm sure if you guys agree that like top decking Reborn, late game is just like really game breaking, and it's just like unnecessary to have, especially with Call at 2 already. Next card, Sangan. Main reason is once this card gets hit, essentially people will run Tour Bus. They'll probably run like 1 Tour Bus or 2, depending on what they're feeling or how much room they have. But yeah, Sangan searches out too much in the game, and it is really too good, I'd say. Being able to search out, pretty much whatever you need. Like, I'm sure you can search out Maxine Veilers, but I think those are good searches because Maxine Veilers should never be touched. They keep the game in check. Next card, Mind Control. With Exceeds, obviously it's just too good. I mean, I've talked about this card for a while now, and yeah, the card definitely needs to go, as you guys know. Next card, Future Fusion. Now, it opens up a lot of plays just because it's that Dark Elemental Hero. Once that card comes out in TCG, I'm sure people will make Quasar even faster now with Future Fusion. And all you need to open up with literally is Future Fusion, and you can make Quasar pretty much with anything as long as, you're able to send Zephyros to the grave, bounce back Future Fusion, activate Future Fusion, and then activate Future Fusion to send Plague Spreader and another Dark, and then essentially you can just go make a Brile, and then you activate Future Fusion again, bounce back to your hand, Future Fusion, and you can just basically deck them everything and then get out Quasar, and then you pretty much win. Especially because you're going to go with Librarian for this, so you get all the draw too, so it's really good. And then the last card here, I'm sorry, second to the last card, Trap Does Shoot. I think it needs to go just because it's one of those cards where if your opponent goes first, they open up with it, and you're like, okay, wow. I mean, yes, it's really like dead late game. You could argue that, yeah, it doesn't do anything late game. But the problem with that is if your opponent opens up with it, and then you go second, you basically are in a situation where you're like, oh, wow, he knows all my plays. And I think it'd be better to see, not as much sackiness going on where it's like, oh, you open up with Trap Dust Shoot? Okay, you basically win. Like, if you go summon Thunder King, summon activate Dust Shoot, you're in a situation where you're like, okay, I have answers for everything. I know exactly, not to attack because you have Deep Prison set. It's just too good. And then the last card here that I want banned, this is more personal than anything, and I don't think it'll be touched. GKs haven't been doing so great, but like it's just like if you open up with it, you just win. And obviously they have Dualities decked in, they have Command just to send to the grave to add Necro Valley, and so like I just want this card to go. I mean, and if anyone's played against Gravekeepers and they go first from Royal Tribute, and then they get rid of like 3 or 4 cards in your hand, you're like, oh, okay, you might as well be playing Wind-Ups. It's a better version of that, and yeah, so that's why I just want Royal Tribute to go. It's more personal than anything. But yeah, next up for cards to 2, a lot of people were talking about Hyperion, and yeah, I'll agree. I mean, even though I was playing Agents for like quite a while, yeah, I'll say Hyperion is honestly like really too good. It's just too easy to get out, essentially. I mean, removing from the hand, or the field, or the graveyard just to get them out, it's just like you can remove from too many different places, and it's just still like good. Like Necro Valley's on the field, oh no problem, I'll just remove from the field. Like, it's just too good. And if they're hitting, some of the structure deck cards, essentially, I think Rafa should also be touched just a bit, just because Dark Worlds are kind of good. I mean, they are pretty great against most anti-meta decks, unless they, get sided and they put in Defissure against Dark Worlds. And yeah, but the thing is, Defissure almost doesn't hurt Dark Worlds to the point where they can't play. Because I was thinking before, we're like, oh, you just side in Defissure and then they can't play anything. But remember, they still have the field spell, and they still have Snow, and they still have monsters that can attack for like 19, and Snow becomes 2,000, so they can still kind of keep up with you, and which is quite unfortunate, because but you know what's really good is Macrocosmos, because once they activate like card destruction, you just go, okay, chain Macrocosmos, okay, now everything's RFG'd. It's just really good. But yeah, I'm thinking if they're touching more structure deck, I think since the Dragon structure deck just came out, possibly Red Eyes Darkness Metal could be something that could go to 2. I mean, there's also the Holy Mark Dragons, or they're called the Hieroglyph Dragons now. But yeah, this card definitely could be going down to 2, and I think that is pretty decent. Again, like Future Fusion makes Red Eyes Darkness Metal so much better, and that's why if they're hitting all the structure decks, just the Dragons would be kind of up there just because they haven't got touched. And next card that's going to 2. I want to talk about Mizuki and as well as its good friend Boreal. I was thinking either Boreal or Mizuki could go to 2. But the thing is, I don't think that they can go paired to 2 because people might think that zombies would get too much of a boost. But like if they just put Mizuki at 2, no problem. Or if they put Boreal at 2, because Boreal's not really seeing any play anyways. I mean, Blackwings used to play it with Vayu Turbo, but the thing is, with Oppression gone, like Vayu Turbo is not nearly as good. But yeah, I think, you know, either Boreal to 2 or Mizuki to 2, but probably not at the same time, because, yeah, obviously zombies would have a pretty good advantage, and I don't think it'd be too good, but, you know, it might hurt eventually. But anyways, next card, Book of Moon, I think you should go to 2. I mean, it's basically a -1, but it's a really good -1. I mean, you can stop effects, you can stop attacks, but I mean, I personally haven't been liking the card as much. I'd rather just Solemn Warning, or just from more Trags for extra protection. And then last card, Bestiari. I mean, Glads haven't really been doing that great, and honestly, do you really think Bestiari is going to be the game-breaking card? Before, yeah, when everyone was playing, when double bottomless was basically staple, yeah, when you bottomless Bestiari, it hurt a lot. But the thing is, I mean, no Glad player is really going to make Levier to get it back, but in the off chance that they do, I mean, yeah, you could get it back. But really, Bestiari, if you've played Glads, you know that Bestiari to 2 at this format, even then, Glads won't be that great. And it'll give Glads a little bit more power, and I think Glads are kind of good for all those decks that use multiple effects because it keeps the game kind of in check. Kind of like Maxi and Valor. Like, they really keep the game in check with decks that like to spam special summoning, except for when you play against windups and you don't draw Maxi first turn. But lastly, we have cards that are going to 1. I want this card to go to 2, personally, because it really does keep the game in check, especially with Space at 3. I mean, you can sign in Dust Tornadoes. And so yeah, Oppression really should come back. I think it's a really good card. It super keeps the game in check as far as spamming special summons. And the reason why I really want it back is because if your deck is relying on special summons, basically something like windups, you should be playing MSTs to get your plays off. And Oppression really just helps the game in check. And hey, it really does keep the game in check from decks that just special summon everything and they don't run like MSTs. Because sometimes like they just special summon and you go, okay, I'll warning. And then there's like, oh, it's cool, I'll just special summon more cards. And then you're like, oh, okay, that didn't really matter. I wish I saved my warning for the next card. But you didn't know because like they're going to make like a Scrap Dragon and you warning that and they're like, oh, okay, Blackluster Soldier. Or they get something else and you're like, oh, now I wish I saved it. But yeah, basically that's why. And Oppression's a really fair card. I mean, it has a cost. It's relatively slow. MST's at 3. You can side in Dust Tornadoes. You can side in Breakers. Next card, Tsukiyomi doesn't really do anything, really. Like, I don't see why this card is banned. Some people were talking about Magician of Faith, and the thing with Magician of Faith is it's only as good as the spells in the format. Like, right now we have Heavy, we have Monster Reborn, it's kind of too good, but I think if we took away some of those cards, like Dark Hole, Heavy, it could possibly come back. But I think Dark Hole is great for the game. It does keep, you know, your opponent from special summoning a whole bunch of stuff and not able to OTK you. And like you drop a Gores, and then yeah, then you can just Dark Hole. I mean, obviously you don't want to drop the Gores like late and then Dark Hole. It's better to drop Gores early on as possible, and then protect yourself from the additional damage, and then Dark Hole. But next card, possibly going to 1. Either this or Magician. This is Wind Up Factory. Yeah, this or like Wind Up Magician. Like those cards combo so well with each other. But I'm not sure about what they'll hit in windups. I don't think anything in Inzectors is going to get hit because it's released really soon, and you know it just came out. You know, let the deck have a chance to play itself before they get hit. And last card I want to talk about is Chaos Emperor Envoy, and also Dark Magician of Chaos. So those are the cards that are kind of like possibly coming back, and like I don't want them to because I think that they're kind of bad for the game as far as like, oh, just really, really strong monsters. And I'd honestly rather have BLS legal than this card over here. And yeah, because, I mean, yes, you can Valor this thing, but the thing is, if it gets its effect activated, it's quite devastating. But what's really cool, though, is if you're playing windups and, you know, this card happens to come back and you top deck this card, that's pretty awesome, because windups really can't top deck too well, unless they, you know, top deck Rat. But if they discard your hand, they probably have no more Rats. But yeah, that's basically what I think should be a hit as far as the ban list. But I definitely do think that Rabbit should be hit as well, but I really wasn't too sure of what to hit because that deck is topping all the time. Possibly just the Rabbit. I mean, if you really look at it though, they only get to use Rabbit's effect twice in the entire duel. So, I mean, unless they have Pot of Avarice. But basically they only use Rabbit's effect twice. Because they go for Cobblezoos and they go for Sabersaurus, and then they're like, oh, okay, draw another Rescue Rabbit, and then essentially that one Rescue Rabbit is bad. But, I mean, I understand that, yeah, it stops the consistency of opening up with Rabbit first turn, and a first turn Rabbit is pretty good unless you have Max C. But I really think they should hit something Rabbits. I'm not sure what, as far as, like, the Dinos Rabbit. But yeah, I think definitely Rescue Rabbit should probably go down to 2. Obviously at 1 the deck really wouldn't be too viable. But yeah, those are my ban list predictions. But let me know if you have any cards that you think that should be banned. Let me know in the comment section below, or cards that should be brought back. Maybe for Cyberstein, no. But I mean, if you have Valor, a Cyberstein, that'd be kind of funny, because then they'd be really low life and they couldn't really do much. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Here's your Nice White Dragon, signing out.